Hi and welcome to Ryvis Rambles, where I talk about whatever the fuck I want. And in today's video it's time for another recap of the media I consumed in the past 3 months. A reminder of my rating system can be found in the description, but as always, a low star rating doesn't necessarily mean it was bad, it just means it wasn't for me. As always, I'll be talking about the movies, shows and anime I watched, books and manga I read, and games I played. You might still hear it in my voice, but I've been quite sick recently and my lung especially took a small blow, so I'm still a bit hoarse. Just FYI. And with that, let's get into it. Movies. I watched Chainsaw Man, It's Arc, Roses, Boiling Point, A Different Man, The Evil Influencer documentary, Renfield, Uptown Girls, The Long Walk, Memoir of a Snail, Thunderbolts, Sorry Baby, Train Dreams, Stand By Me, rewatched Princess Mononoke, Pen Dance, A Balloon's Landing, No Other Choice, Retro Family, Our Little Sister, Hamnet, and Love Love You. Chainsaw Man, It's Arc. The movie is a direct sequel to the first season of the series Chainsaw Man, featuring Denji, a young man who coexists with a chainsaw demon. Denji encounters a new romantic interest, but this involvement might place them both in danger. I've never been a huge Chainsaw Man fan, but I do like the animation. And in this movie too, the animation is very smooth and it's artistically very beautiful, but I hate Denji. I hate him so much. He's such a fickle man, and just because a girl uses words like balls and big ass doesn't mean that they're a sex-crazed person. Apart from that, this movie also contains a classic villain, in the sense that this villain character takes too long to kill the hero to do it in style, and then misses the opportunity. 3 stars. The Roses. Life seems easy for picture-perfect couple Theo and Ivy. Successful careers, a loving marriage, great kids. However, a tin box of fierce competition and hidden resentments soon emerge when Theo's career nosedives and Ivy's own ambitions take off. I enjoyed watching it, and the level of madness at the end is appropriate. 3 stars. Boiling Point. A chef must deal with pressure in and out of the kitchen of a high-end restaurant in a Christmas rush. The movie was way calmer than expected compared to The Bear, for example, but it was still very atmospheric, and it was filmed as a one-shot. 3 stars. A Different Man. An aspiring actor undergoes a radical medical procedure to drastically transform his appearance. However, his new dream face quickly turns into a nightmare as he becomes obsessed with reclaiming what was lost. I honestly like the vibes of the movie and the moral, or at least the way I understood the moral, that 1. Looks aren't everything and they certainly don't make up for personality, and 2. You can't be someone you're not, because it'll just lack authenticity. Personally, I do sometimes feel like an Edward, but I am more of an Oswald, if I do say so myself. 3 stars. Evil Influencer documentary. This documentary unravels the case of Utah therapist Jody Hildebrand, whose child abuse arrest with parenting YouTuber Ruby Frankie exposed the twisted tale of manipulation. I watched so many YouTube commentary and essays about this, but I was interested to see how an official documentary would handle this topic. In my opinion, it was well done, and I appreciate that 1. They didn't involve or show more of the kids than necessary, and 2. Blurred the kids' faces. 3 stars. Renfield. Renfield, the tortured aide to his narcissistic boss Dracula, is forced to procure his master's prey and do his every bidding. However, after centuries of servitude, he's ready to see if there's a life outside his boss's shadow. Renfield is a fun, modern take on Dracula, though I have to say it didn't have the best acting at times. Nevertheless, I was entertained. 3 stars. Uptown Girls. A grown-up woman who kept her childish instincts and behavior starts working as the nanny of an 8-year-old girl who actually acts like an adult. They soon realize they have much to learn from each other. It's not the best movie, but it was cute. I'd classify it as a lazy Sunday movie. Back when I was still watching TV and had a lazy Sunday, I'd just lay in bed or on the couch and just zap through TV and just watch some random movies. Most of these movies were trivial or forgettable rom-coms, something that doesn't demand much brain energy, so it was just easy to watch and I was still entertained. So movies who share the same vibe is something I call a Sunday movie. And to me, Uptown Girls falls into this category. 3 stars. The Long Walk. A group of teenage boys compete in an annual contest known as the Long Walk, in which they must maintain a certain walking speed or get shot. I was curious to see how they'd make a walk interesting, but it was actually tense until the very end. And it's honestly a good story about brotherhood. 3 stars. Memoir of a Snail. A bittersweet memoir of a melancholic woman called Grace. Was it Pudel or Puddle? Horde of snails, romance novels, and guinea pigs. This movie has a beautiful and calm narration, but one moment is sadder than the next. However, I never felt depressed, especially because it ends on a hopeful note. 4 stars. Thunderbolts. Ensnared in a death trap, an unconventional team of anti-heroes embarks on a dangerous mission that forces them to confront the darkest corners of their past. This is the first Marvel movie I watched since Guardians of the Galaxy 3, or Deadpool and Wolverine if you count that, which was in 2024. And honestly, to me, personally, it didn't live up to its hype. Most of the movie was mid until the very end. It has a very emotional climax, but up to this climax, I was quite bored. My favorite is Alexis, and the end credits only deepened that sentiment. Overall, I think the Thunderbolts could be summarized as less colorful or desaturated Avengers. 3 stars. Sorry, baby. After a tragic event, a woman finds herself alone while life goes on for everyone else. When a friend visits on the brink of an important milestone, Agnes realizes how stuck she's been. This movie is about a woman who's trying to find her way after her whole world came crashing down. It's honestly a good movie. The only thing that was a bit off-putting to me was the scene at the doctor's, though I don't want to say it was bad because I know that people handle trauma differently. However, the tone of the movie still left me a bit conflicted. It's overall very calm and slow, and I did like the way they handled the topic at hand. 3 stars. Train Dreams. Logger searches for meaning in a life marked by loss and a changing American frontier. This movie is so sad, but beautifully and very calmly narrated. I can totally recommend the movie, but personally I won't be able to watch it again very soon because I don't know when I'll be able to handle this emotional damage again. 5 stars. Stand By Me. A writer recounts a childhood journey with his friends to find the body of a missing boy. I've heard so many people say it's a movie for the boys. Bitch, please. It's a classic coming-of-age drama with a story focused on the characters. My favorite was Chris with his golden heart. This movie shows perfectly that kids are naive at the same time. Of course, they shouldn't be treated like full-ass grown-up people, but they do understand more than adults want to give them credit for. 3 stars. Mononoke Hime. While seeking to cure himself of a curse, young warrior Ashitaka stumbles into a conflict between the people of Irontown and Princess Mononoke, a girl raised by wolves, who will stop at nothing to prevent the destruction of her home. The last time I watched this movie was 20 years ago, and I didn't remember the ending at all. It has some seriously creepy and disgusting parts though, and that's what I remembered. The movie very clearly has a deeper meaning, and is very obviously a criticism of humanity. What I did like about the movie is the feminist tone, though the plot is driven by pretty privilege. And speaking of pretty privilege, the one thing I take away from this movie is that Ashitaka is a fuckboy, because he gave away the lucky charm he was given by a girl from his town that obviously had a crush on him. I mean, I get the intention that he gave it to Sun to protect her, but still, it wasn't his charm in the first place. Like, he didn't make it. Apart from that, Ashitaka reminds me a lot of Lucy from Fallout, because they're on no one's side specifically. They're on the side of righteousness. So they don't hate any party and they don't blame a single entity. They just want what's right for everyone. I know that Princess Mononoke is a fan's favorite, but I still prefer Spirited Away. 3 stars. Ten Dance. 2 dancers, opposite in all but their art, agree to train together, aiming to master each other's style for a prestigious competition. At first they clash, but soon become drawn to each other. Now that's what I call a heated rivalry. I also watched Heated Rivalry. I'll talk about this later in the show section. I overall enjoyed the movie and I especially loved the soundtrack. There are only 2 things that disappointed me. The first one is when one of them had their special bonus dance with his ex, I low-key hoped that the boyfriend would swoop in with "I'm gonna have this dance," but I guess it was important for the plot. And the second is the ending, though I guess it ended this way because the manga has been cancelled. 3 stars. A Balloon's Landing. An aspiring Hong Kong writer meets a Taipei drifter. Their chance encounter evolves into an unexpected adventure as they search for a mysterious bay. Very tiny spoiler, but there's a suicide scene. That specific suicide scene is so funny, which might sound macabre, but you'll get it when you see it. In general, this is a very sweet and feel-good movie for a while. The ending felt like being run over by a train of emotions coming out of nowhere. I didn't expect it to be so emotional. It felt like a punch to the heart. But the very last scene before the credits also left me a bit confused, not gonna lie. I can totally recommend it, but it only gets 3 stars because it's a one-time watch for me. No Other Choice. After being fired, a man devises a unique plan to secure a new job. Eliminate his competition. This movie got everything. Tension, drama, comedy, especially the last one. It was unexpectedly comical, but I loved it. 4 stars. Rental Family. An American actor in Tokyo struggling to find purpose lands an unusual gig. Working for a Japanese rental family agency, playing stand-in roles for strangers. As he immerses himself in his client's world, he begins to form genuine bonds that blur the lines between performance and reality. I went into this movie expecting it to be super emotional, but it wasn't as emotional. Ironically, despite having sad moments, I'd classify it as a feel-good movie. 3 stars. Our little sister. 3 sisters live together in Kamakura. When their father, absent for 15 years, dies, they travel through the countryside for his funeral and meet their half-sister. Bonding quickly with the orphan Suzu, they invite her to live with them. The original title, Umimachi Diary, is honestly way more fitting because that's exactly what this movie feels like. A diary of 4 sisters. This is one of the Koreeda movies I hadn't seen yet, and unlike his other movies, this one isn't as depressing and hopeless. Instead, it's just a sneak peek into the life of 4 sisters. It also proves that daily life can be interesting without artificially created or over-the-top drama. 3 stars. Hamlet, the powerful story of love and loss that inspired the creation of Shakespeare's timeless masterpiece, Hamlet. I've read different summaries about this movie, and the IMDB summary is garbage. Don't read it if you haven't seen it yet. Honestly, don't read anything if you haven't seen it yet. I've heard people say it's best to go into this movie without knowing anything, but I already knew from the title what it was going to be about, as I'm sure many of you do too. And it didn't take anything away from my experience. It was still a nice movie to watch and a beautifully told story, even if you know where it's headed. I even liked it so much that I didn't want it to end, but I still don't recommend reading any summaries. A small detail I particularly liked was that even though the protagonist Agnes was wearing a muted red dress, it was still easy to spot her in a crowd. But just as with A Balloon's Landing, this might be a one-time watch because I don't know if I'll find it as emotionally captivating during the second watch. 3 stars. Love, Love You. Gump and Nye's love is tested when Gump must move in with an attractive new student while Nye gets a surprise visitor from his past. The movie itself seems a bit amateurish from everything, but that's okay. It's forgivable. The end or the climax was so batshit bonkers, I can't. I love it so much. I didn't know that the movie had a prequel and sequel, but I obviously have to watch it now. 3 stars. Shows. I watched Husband Hotel Season 2, Dashing Youth, Gen V Season 2, Wayward, Heated Rivalry Season 1, Stranger Things Season 5, Fallout Season 2, Love is Blind Season 10, The One Piece Live Action Season 2, Percy Jackson Season 2, Heartbreak High Season 3, and Rick and Morty Season 7. Husband Hotel Season 2. Charlie's victory against Heaven has sinners flocking to the newly rebuilt Husband Hotel. Meanwhile, Vox reveals his plan for the V's to gain the ultimate victory. I love this show. I love the characters, I love the character designs of the human and the demon forms. I love the songs especially because they're cleverly incorporated into the plot and it's just so fucking funny. My main 2 reasons to watch it are Alistair and Angel Dust, though Alistair is my absolute fave. 5 stars. Dashing Youth. Bai Lee Dong-jun, a mischievous young master, dreams of becoming a liquor deity in honor of his slain friend Yi-yoon. However, fate leads him to study martial arts under Lee Chung-shen. Along the way he makes some friends and even reunites with Yi-yoon. Years later, Yi-yoon is manipulated into waging war against the Central Plains, forcing Bai Lee Dong-jun to lead heroes in battle, determined to save the people and his best friend. Apparently it's a prequel to Blood of Youth, which I haven't watched yet. My first impression of this drama is that it has a really intense beginning with this edgelord, I forgot his name, but also that it's funny and really pretty. Not just the people, also the quality of the drama and the colors. It has amazing CGI for a Chinese production and such stunning visuals. There are so many things I love about this drama that I want to make a video dedicated to this drama alone. But just to name a few things, for example, I love Lei Ming-sha's laugh. I also love Yu In-jun, not only because she's so pretty, but also because she's very capable and competent and strong and fierce. And have I already mentioned that it's super funny? I think the drama itself is a very realistic depiction of what the Jianghu is like or would be like. Because essentially everyone is on their own hero journey and you meet people that you form a tight bond with, but you'll go separate ways eventually, though the bond never breaks. It honestly always feels like you're growing up with the characters in these dramas. The only things I didn't like is that you have this very super long foreplay for the actual core plot and the ending wasn't super satisfying. 4 stars. Heated Rivalry Season 1. 2 rival hockey stars at the top of their game face an unexpected challenge when they develop feelings for each other, complicating their careers and the sport's expectations. After watching the first episode, I was missing the plot. It essentially felt just like soft porn. The first episode felt like a speedrun of their reason to hook up, with a bunch of time skips, which was a bit off-putting, but it gets better later on. Also, there's barely any hockey in it. In the first 2 episodes, there's maybe 2 minutes of hockey shown, and the games aren't shown at all. We only see the results of the matches with a bunch of time skips. I've also created a sports BL and you see more people on bikes in my webcomic and more people on the dance floor in Ten Dance than people playing hockey in this show. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fine to shift the focus away from hockey and on the relationship later on, but I was missing the build-up of the relationship. The pacing was just insane. I'm also not saying that there was no chemistry, I'm just saying saying I'm missing the build-up. I prefer the relationship between Scott and Kip because it takes more time to establish the chemistry. My favorite scenes of the show was the club scene and the credits scene. And even though I'm missing the plot or the build-up, I still have to say it's much better than Heartstopper. 3 stars. Stranger Things Season 5. It's the conclusion of the story. In this season, Wagner kidnaps 12 kids, including Mike's little sister Holly. Mike and the others set out to rescue her while trying to put an end to Wagner once and for all. Maybe I am biased because I stopped liking it since Season 2, but Robin's dick monologue was not it. I'll make it brief. I'm glad it's over. I liked the first season, but from Season 2 it went downhill and it was dragging. So 3 stars for being finally over. Fallout Season 2. Lucy tries to find her dad to bring him to justice after what he's done while Cooper, or the ghoul, is still searching for his wife and daughter. I think Season 1 was stronger, but I still enjoyed it. I love the characters, and as I mentioned before, Lucy reminds me a lot of Ashtaka, minus the fuckboy part. 3 stars. Love is Blind Season 10. As in every season, singles who want to be loved for who they are rather than what they look like have signed up for a less conventional approach to modern dating. Still a guilty pleasure, but I think in this season we have more couples than ever. And that's all I have to say. 3 stars. One Piece live action Season 2. With his Straw Hat and Ragtag crew, young pirate Monkey D. Luffy goes on an epic voyage for the One Piece. I very much loved the first season, I even made a video about it, but in this season the vibes were kinda off. It's just the whole thing, the acting and the script, it all felt worse than in Season 1. I cannot pinpoint it, but even Luffy's grin is so intense it's almost creepy. I don't remember it being this creepy in the first season. In this season we once again have one arc per episode, except for the Baroque's work arc that spans over multiple episodes and will continue in Season 3. And even though it was a bit off, I still enjoyed it, so 3 stars. Percy Jackson Season 2. After Camp Half-Blood's border is attacked, Percy Jackson sets off on an odyssey into the Sea of Monsters in search of his best friend Grover and the one thing that may save Camp, the Golden Fleece. I think I'm a bit late to the party because I feel very indifferent about the plot and the characters. I wanted to jump on the hype train way back when we only had movies but never had a chance to watch them. It is what it is. 2 stars. Heartbreak High Season 3. After the head of the school mascot has been kidnapped by the rival school, Emery and her friends want to take revenge. However, the plan takes a turn when an uninvolved party ends up in a coma because of them. I love this show. The main reasons why I love this show is the juicy drama, the colorful makeup, the cute hairstyles, and I'm super satisfied with the ending. 4 stars. Rick and Morty Season 7. As in every season, Rick takes his fretful teenage grandson Morty on wild misadventures in other worlds and alternate dimensions. So this might sound a bit weird, but Rick and Morty is a kind of comfort show because I always binge watch an entire season when I'm sick. It's a bit ironic because the show is kind of sick. But it's also very easy to digest. Since the plot isn't really connected, I don't miss much when I drift in and out of consciousness. And since I just watched Season 7 instead of Season 8, that means I haven't been sick since Season 6. In this season specifically, I have to say not all episodes have the same quality, but my favorite episodes were episode 5 and 6. 3 stars. Somehow while recording this, I accidentally skipped over 2 shows, so I'll just add them now. Gen V. As America adjusts to Homelander's reign at Godolphin University, the new dean preaches a course to make students more powerful than ever. Wars brewing between humans in soups, and our crew learns of a secret program from the 60s that may be significant to today. And somehow Marie is a part of it. Gen V is honestly a solid show, and even though the whole secret around Marie has a bit of Mary Sue vibes, it didn't really bother me. 4 stars. Wayward. After a student escapes, newly arrived local cop Alex Dempsey grows suspicious of the goings-on at the Tall Pines Academy, a school for troubled teens. The show is an overall interesting thriller, but the one thing I wanted to point out was the performance of Stacy's actress. She honestly outplayed everyone else. 3 stars. Books. I've read My Husband and I Sleep in a Coffin Volume 2, Salazar Mai Volume 2, Legend of Exorcism Volume 4, Ballad of Straw and Wine Volume 6, and Mistakenly Saving the Villain Volume 2. My Husband and I Sleep in a Coffin Volume 2. Newly emerged from a mausoleum, Wang Xiaomia and Wen Fengjin settle into a life of domestic bliss, surrounded by all the comforts and conveniences of the modern world. But life among the living isn't as peaceful as it seems. There's a secret group specialized in hunting down supernatural beings, so Wang Xiaomia and Wen Fengjin must fight for their lives. This book, or this series, is still very bad. It also has some very bad takes, for example that being castrated means you're no longer a man, or that you can't recognize women once they take off their makeup. This is the final volume, luckily, because I could not take any more of this. And I think in my last video or whenever I talked about the first volume, I mentioned that it gave me fanfic vibes, but now that I've read the second volume, I take it back. It doesn't feel like a fanfic, it feels like a crackfic. The ending is so unsatisfying, especially because Wen Feng-jin takes out all the tension of the plot by straight up explaining how he's going to outsmart the villain. If I already know, why should I read it? And don't get me started on the incest! What's up this season? I've consumed so much media with sudden incest and I'm like, why? I'm sorry, but I'm not a fan of that. There are a few bonus chapters at the end which are a tad more interesting than the main plot, and I'm not gonna lie, I was invested, but it's still terribly written. If there was a movie just about the bonus chapters, I would watch it though, but the bonus chapters are not worth struggling through the whole 2 novels. I honestly don't know who the target audience is because I'm obviously not it, but it has some good reviews, so there are people out there who like it, but I don't. 1 star. Sarasama Volume 2. Junior high students Kazuki, Toi, and Enta have a run-in with Kappa Prince Kepi, who recruits them to hunt down zombie kappas born of twisted human desires. This is the second half of the story of the anime, including a bonus chapter that's not included in the show. Same here, I'm doubling down, it's written real bad. Most of the time it's not clear whose perspective it's from. It's very clearly an omniscient narrator, but then it uses phrases like "it felt like." It just felt odd in general. It's entirely the anime in written form, but the anime is so much better, so don't even bother reading it. The one bonus scene isn't worth it. I'm still giving it 3 stars though, because I really like the anime. Legend of Exorcism Volume 4. After returning from the north, the Department of Exorcism is no sooner reunited in Chang'an than a series of strange cases strikes the capital. Whether the attacks are a true haunting, the Yao King at work, or the plot of a sinister new enemy, the exorcists must discover the truth before another catastrophe befalls the nation. Meanwhile, though Hongjun and Lee Jinglong have taken a step forward in their relationship, Hongjun continues to be plagued by anxieties. I've talked about the first 3 volumes in different media recaps, and my criticism hasn't changed. The only thing that weirded me out a bit in this volume is the whole childhood thing. Lee Jinglong wakes up in Hongjun's dream and he thinks he's someone else, but at the same time he knows that he's himself. It's not actually confusing, it's more like a plot hole or just inconsistent writing. But the worst thing is that they kiss even though they're like 7 and 9 years old. As I said, it was a bit weird. 3 stars. Ballad of Sword and Wine Volume 6. In the aftermath of the enemy General Hassan's devastating ambush, Xiaoqie struggles to hold together a fractured Li-Bei armored cavalry. To the south, Shen Zichen is determined to claim the last 3 prefectures of Zhongbo. This still very much reads like a history book. At this point I'm not even mad anymore, I just want to get over these history exposition passages. In this entire volume there are 4 good pages and they're about the side couple. I mean, it's well written, don't get me wrong, even though it tends to explain what was just said, but my mind just keeps wandering off while reading. 2 stars. Mistakenly Saving the Villain, Volume 2. After a near-fatal catastrophe, Song Jingxi awakens to find his home, the Medicine King's Valley, almost unrecognizable. His devoted companion, Yu Wuhan, remains by his side, ready to guide him through the changes. Yu Wuhan seems transformed as well. To Song Jingxi, he seems more stable than ever before. Yet, when Anlong storms into the valley, Yu Wuhuan's carefully spun narrative begins to unravel. Soon the two are at each other's throats again. In desperate bid to restore peace, Song Jingxi proposes a vacation together. Honestly, this series is also not getting better. I'm also not a big fan of this whole love triangle situation. The only thing I liked about this volume is the way it represents or shows Yu Wuhuan's mental state. Without spoiling too much, he harms himself and you really understand why he's doing that. And at the same time explains that it's obviously not a good thing and that he needs therapy. So this kind of stuck a bit out from the rest because it was the only thing well done in this story so far. The rest is still quite bad though, so 2 stars. Anime. I watched Mawaru Penguin Drum, Jujutsu Kaisen Senpen, and then no Shobotai Season 3 Part 2, Oshinoko Season 3, and Beastar Season 3 Part 2. Mother Penguin Drum. A terminally ill girl is revived by a magical penguin spirit. In return, her brothers are sent on a quest for the mysterious penguin drum. It very much has that on my vibes, obviously because it's from the same creator, but specifically I mean some of the random deliberate repetitions, for example. I also like the stylistic choice of simplifying the NPCs. Or to be precise, I don't think it's just a stylistic choice, I think there's actually a reason why the NPCs look like this. Doesn't matter though, I just wanted to say that I liked it. This entire anime is style over substance. What I also thought was very funny is that the kids in the past still have the voice actors of their grown selves. So you have this small kid, for example, running around, a small boy with his full grown ass man voice. It was just so funny to me. Nevertheless, the story still manages to pull you in. And while it's actually interesting in the beginning, the more the story progresses, the more it feels like a fever dream. In the end, I just didn't know what was going on anymore. While it was interesting, I wasn't necessarily invested. I didn't find myself bored, to be honest. But at the same time, I accidentally skipped an episode. I don't know how, and I didn't even notice. I only noticed because I track the episodes I watch on my anime list. Go, follow me. Let's be friends. And after finishing episode 7, I noticed I only tracked 5 episodes, so I went back to episode 6 because of course, sometimes I forget to track, it happens. But I hadn't watched episode 6. I just jumped from 5 to 7 and I didn't even realize I missed a whole episode. So, I don't know, speaks for itself, I guess. And here we go again, not the incest. What's wrong with people? Why is it in every show lately? How do I keep on accidentally picking the shows with incest? I mean, you might argue it's not his sister when they're doing the things they do because she is possessed by a penguin spirit, but it's still her body. And then, I don't know, minor spoiler, mild spoiler, big spoiler, I don't know, skip if you don't trust me. But it later turns out they're not even blood related, and that's such a cop-out. Honestly, commit or leave it. Because until the very, very end, you think they're blood related siblings. Also, in my opinion, even if you're not blood related, if you grow up with someone as siblings, it still has incest vibes. 2 stars. Jujutsu Kaisen Senpen. This season focuses on the Culling Game arc, which is basically battle royale but on a voluntary basis. Honestly, I cannot explain what's happening. I've lost the plot. I don't understand anything and it's really frustrating. Most of the season focuses on the preparation for the Culling Game and the introduction of new characters, but then we're also at the same time already in the Culling Game. Don't ask me. I can explain to you what happened even if my life depended on it. In my opinion, there was too much preparation for the Culling Game. Also, it's your choice to participate, but then it's also somehow not. And even the fact that they had time to prepare or make some final preparations before they enter the game kind of took out the tension and the stakes. Because I thought when they started talking about the Culling Game that all these sorcerers would have just been pushed into it with no time to prepare, nothing. And instead it's like, oh yeah, the Culling Game is going to start, by the way, so just come by whenever you're ready. Some parts played in the past and some parts played in the present, and I could never tell where on the timeline we were or when on the timeline we were, so that was also a bit confusing. Overall, I think there are more elegant ways to tell or rather show the whole thing. That just didn't happen. Bottom line is, I was not invested at all. I'll give it 2 stars, 1 star for the animation, even though that also was a bit too much sometimes and felt a bit distracting, and 1 star for Megumi because I love him. I do miss Gojo though, like honestly, what even is Jujutsu Kaisen without Gojo? And then no Shobotai Season 3, Part 2. This is the second part of Fire Force Squad 8 trying to prove their innocence after Haumea, a member of the White Clad cult, brainwashed the leadership of the Tokyo Empire into believing that Shinra and the others are rebels. The rescue mission to save their captain and ultimately liberate Tokyo is still in progress in this season. I honestly was looking forward to the second part of this season because the first part teased the use of different media, but bro, this part felt like one big fever dream, especially episode 8. It's so absurd that it was also kind of fun though. Anyways, gist of the season is hope versus despair and to never lose hope, I guess. I honestly don't know how I feel about the ending because Shinra and Haumea turned into their Super Saiyajin forms, the mega evolution of themselves, and everything else that happened afterwards just felt a bit too easy. I don't want to spoil too much, so I don't know. 2 stars. Oshinoko Season 3. The story moves on to a new stage. Bikumachi are on the verge of the big break. Aqua continues to grow as a personality, while Akane advances on her path to becoming a skilled actress. Meanwhile, Kana has lost her usual cheerfulness. Finally, in her quest to uncover the truth behind Ai and Goro's death, Ruby rises through the entertainment industry using lies as her weapon. Honestly, with the focus away from Aqua, it's way more interesting, and I honestly really enjoyed the season, especially because of the animation. I mean, I like the animation from season 1, obviously. It's very well done, but I just came to appreciate it even more in this season. Also, just a small warning because I once again didn't know the last episode of the season is an hour long. Just a little FYI. 3 stars. Vsauce Season 3 Part 2. In a world of anthropomorphic animals, a reclusive wolf's complicated relationship with a kindly rabbit is tested by a classmate's murder, a charismatic deer's influence, and his own burgeoning predatory instincts. Oh my god, it's finally over! It's an unsatisfying anime with unsatisfying characters and an unsatisfying end. I don't even like the animation style. 1 star. Manga. I Fret. Mr. Ace Farm Season 1, Ran Season 2, Your Kiss Tastes of Lies or Kuchitsuke wa Usunaji Volume 9, and the other world's books depend on the Bean Counter Volume 6. Mr. A's Farm. Little A travels to his uncle's farm because his uncle, Mr. A, sent him a letter saying he needs help because there aren't enough workers. However, when he arrives, his uncle is nowhere to be found and he's greeted by unusual livestock instead. Being the kind-hearted guy he is, Little A has no choice but to stay and manage the farm until his missing uncle returns. It's... 3 stars. Okay, honestly, I can deal with the animal-human hybrid and intersex thing because I knew what I signed up for. But the alien-like creatures? What? 3 stars. Scamp Ran Season 2. Now that Yi figured out that Muyong is the shaman? It's shaman, right?
Shaman.
Now that Yi figured out that Muyong is the shaman who conned him, he breaks off all contact. Muyong, on the other hand, realizes his feelings for Yi have turned into something real, so he tries everything he can to win Yi back. I obviously haven't finished reading Season 2 yet because it's still ongoing, but it started, so I thought it was worth mentioning because I'm so hyped for it. And so far, it's still so fucking funny. 4 stars. Your Kiss Taste of Lie or Kuchitsuke wa Usunaji Volume 9. The manga is about Makio, a con artist or Yakuza member, I don't really remember anymore, who tries to con Satoru, a young businessman, but then the two fall for each other. The series is about the relationship, and in this volume specifically, Satoru proposes to Makio and a Brazilian gang steers up the Yakuza gang Makio works for. At least I think he works for them. There's something going on. Anyways, I realized that the sweet spot of a yaoi series is 2 to 3 volumes max. Anything shorter than that might leave me unsatisfied, and anything longer, like this one, just feels like it's dragging at some point. And Your Kiss Taste of Lie certainly has reached that point. The mangaka wrote in her afterword that this series is nearing its finale, so I hope the next volume will be the last. Of course there are exceptions though, and as for Shonen I prefer it when it's a bit longer because I'm a big fan of that slow burn, but yaoi in general are quite fast-paced, so I don't see a point in dragging it out for that long. Also, I like to mention that I'm not a big fan of the Yakuza trope, but unlike Tori wa Habatakanai, for example, it doesn't go as deep into Yakuza turf wars, so it's a bit easier for me to read. 3 stars. The other world's book depend on the Bean Counter Volume 6. After being dragged to another world, the workaholic Kondo now works in the Royal Accounting Department. Now, as vice director, Kondo is deep in his investigation of the church, leading him to a plot that could unravel the entire social order of the country. And as always, Kondo works himself to the bone, so Arash has to swoop in to save the day, or Kondo's life. I don't really have much to say about this. I love the art style, I also like the overall story, but especially the comedy bits. And no, I haven't watched the anime yet. 3 stars. I'm going after reading Wet Sand, Jinx, 90 Days, Bungo Stray Dogs, Kagurabachi, Owari no Seraph, Yarichin Bitch Club, and One Room TA. Games. I played Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All and One Shot. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All. This is the second game in the Ace Attorney series and is set about a year after the events of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. The story follows Phoenix Wright, a defense attorney who defends his clients in 4 episodes. This game is still so much fun and it still makes me feel very smart. I was also very happy to see a few recurring characters from the first game. Apart from the recurring characters, I feel the second installment has very camp characters, like Don't get me wrong, it already had camp characters in the first game, but I feel like the second game stepped it up a notch. For example with Maximilian Galactica, and I love it. The only thing I didn't get were the jokes or the puns the clown made in episode 3, but that's entirely a me problem. 4 stars. One Shot. One Shot is a surreal puzzle adventure game in which you guide a child through a mysterious world on a mission to restore its long dead son. Right off the bat, the very first thing I liked about this about this game before even playing it was the soundtrack. It's really, really nice. The game itself has a fun concept and some really cool features, but I don't want to say too much because I think you'll have the best experience without knowing anything. Just a single hint, the world knows that you exist. The game has multiple endings and it was really hard to choose one. I literally physically had to take a step back and walk through the apartment to make up my mind, and it wasn't easy. Also, you just can't help but fall in love with the protagonist Nico. After finishing it, it also has some new game plus, so it's absolutely worth playing it again. 5 stars. If listening to random people talking about random stuff on the internet appeals to you, leave a like and subscribe. And if you have any topics you'd like to hear me ramble about, leave a suggestion in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching and stay tuned for the next one.